So today we're going to talk about finding the percent proportion, and we are going to use a formula called the percent formula. The way you do it is you have your percent, you put it over 100, and then you're going to find an equivalent fraction that is your part of the number out of your whole. Okay, so this is going to be your percent formula. And this is going to help you figure out any number that you don't have. A proportion is an equation that shows that two ratios are equivalent. That's why we put the equal sign. In a percent proportion, one ratio compares a part to a whole, and the other ratio is the equivalent percent written as a fraction with the denominator of 100. So let's move on to this diagram. The diagram uses the percent proportion to show that 75% of 32 is 24. So when I see the word is, I know is means equal. 75% of 32, so when I'm finding that percent of a number, it should equal 24. So up here, when I said that we were going to use the percent formula, right now we have the part to a whole. We have 24 out of 32, and then we are showing that it is 75. And then percent, as always, when we write it as a fraction, is going to always be out of 100. So now, let's do a few examples. If I say 15 is 30% of what number, what am I given? Well, let's think about how it's set up. Percent over 100 is equivalent to the part out of the whole. I want to identify what these mean. So 15 is, well, I know 15 is means equals 30% of what number? Well, I have a percent, 30, but I'm going to write it as a fraction, excuse me, out of 100. Now it says 15 is the 30%. So since it's telling me 15 is the 30%, I know it's going to be part of the whole number. So 15 is going to be the part of what number? What is my total number out of how much? That's what I don't know. Now, I'm going to introduce variables to you. Back in elementary school, maybe first grade or something, and you were given 7 minus a number. And remember, you were given that box, and you said it equals 5, and they were like, well, how much is that box? Well, now in middle school, you realize that box, we can use a variable. And a variable can be any lowercase letter that stands in for the number we don't know. So I'm going to use n. N is the variable for a number. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this of what number. I don't know. I'm going to use that variable. Well, up here it told me that they are equivalent, and that's why I set it up. So I need to know, how did I turn my 30 into a 15? Well, I made it 2 times less. 30 divided by 2 is going to give me 15. Well, remember, in a fraction, whatever I do to one part of it, same thing happens to the other part. So if I made my numerator 2 times less, I need to make my denominator also 2 times less. 100 divided by 2 is going to be 50. So my n, my variable, is going to equal 50. And then I can check my math. 30% of 50, if I put that in the calculator, 0.30 times 50, it's going to equal my 15. So I know I did it correctly. So of 50. Number 2, what percent of 40 is 10? Now remember, I'm trying to find the percent. I know this means equal. I'm going to do my percent over 100. I'm going to use my percent formula. I'm going to put my part over a whole. And Miss Royce, why are you writing that every time? So I can make sure that I am putting the numbers where they belong. So what percent? I don't know the percent. So I'm going to use that variable n for the number I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, and I know it's always over 100. Equivalent. And then do I know the part? Well, is 40 part of 10 or is the 10 part of the 40? Well, the 10 is part of the 40. So I'm going to write my 10 and then out of a total of 40. In order for me to figure out what n is, I have to know what operation I'm doing to the 10. Well, I don't have enough information in my numerator. But if I come down to my denominator, I'm turning my 100 to a 40. Well, I know it goes less, and I know to find an equivalent fraction, I can only multiply and divide. And obviously, I'm not multiplying to get to a 40, so I'm dividing it. I don't know what to divide since it doesn't go into 40 equally. So I'm going to put in my calculator 100 divided by 40, and that should give me the other factor that I multiply by 40 to get to 100. And once I put it in the calculator, it should be 2.5. So I'm dividing going this way, or I am multiplying 40 times 2.5 going to the left. Does that make sense? So 40 times 2.5 is going to give me 100 because my number gets bigger, or it's 100 divided by 2.5 going to the right because my number gets smaller. When I come up here, remember it's also 2.5. Well, to go from left to right, I have to multiply, but do I know what number that I'm multiplying? No, I don't. So going the opposite way, dividing, if going the opposite way, I know I would multiply 10 times for 2.5. Well, do I have enough information? I do. So if I multiply it 2.5, I can put it in my calculator, or I remember when I multiply by 10, it goes to the right one time. So my n will equal 25. And remember it said what percent? So it's 25%. Okay, let's move on to number 3. It says, what number is 75% of 300? What number is 75%? So I don't know the part. What number is 75%? Well, I know the total is 300. So let me do my percent over 100. I'm going to write my percent formula just to keep myself straight. And if you have not gotten your pencil and paper and you're not working these out with me, you should pause it now. Get your paper and pencil. We only learn through doing. All right, I have my percent, 75 over 100. Just turn my percent into a fraction. I know they need to be equivalent. And I don't know what the part is. I do know it's out of 300. I don't know the value of 75% of 300. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And truthfully, in our previous lesson, I know how to do this. How do you find percent of a number? You would just say either 0.75 times, because the of is times 300, or I would do 75 times 300 divided by 100. But because we are doing our formula, let's just work it out using our percent formula. I don't have enough information to turn my 75 into n, so I'm going to look at my denominator. My 100 goes to 300, so I know I am multiplying a number. 100 times 3. It goes into it equally, so that's easy. I'm going to multiply it by a whole number. If I do that to my denominator, if I'm making that 3 times greater, I'm also making my numerator 3 times greater. And 75 times 3, 225. And 225 is less than 300 and almost close to 300 because it's 75%. So I know I'm going to be over halfway. So my answer, the part, how much is 75% of 300? It'd be 225, which if this was a sale, it would be an awesome discount. All right, so got it. I want you to pause the video. I want you to do A, B, and C, and then unpause it and get back with me and see how you did. 9 is 36% of what number? So it's telling me 9 is the 36%. So I know that's going to be my, sorry, it got blurry. I know that's going to be my part. I'm going to put my percent over 100. I know it's equivalent to my part of a whole. And then I'm going to write it out. A is 36%. Well, I know it's 36% equals 9 is the 36%. So I know 9 is my part. And of what number? I don't know how much total I have. So I'm going to use that variable n for a number. I don't know. I have enough information in my numerator to figure out what I'm multiplying or dividing. Well, 36 turns into 9, which means I need to divide. 36 divided by what equals 9? 4. If I made my numerator 4 times less, then I need to make my denominator 4 times less. 100 divided by 4 is going to equal 25. So n equals 25. Did you get it right? Yay! If you got it wrong, do you see where you messed up? Okay, B, what percent? So I know I am going to look for a percent. Part over a whole. Yes, I'm going to write it every time. I'm going to write it every time until I master this skill. And my brain automatically does it. What percent? I don't know the percent, so I'm going to use that variable. But I do know it's over 100. And it says it is 175 of the 350. So the total I have is 350 and the part is 175. So I need to figure out what percent is 175 of 350. And if I think about it like a discount, like a sale, and I'm getting $175 off, well, what percent was that of the sale? Am I getting a 20%, a 30%? And if I kind of think of what's half of 350, it kind of keeps me in check on if I'm close to it or not. So I don't have enough information on my numerator to figure out, but my 100 can go into my 350, not equally. I mean, I'm going to have a decimal. So it's easier if you just take the 350 and divide it by your 100. And if I do that, remember, if you divide by 100, you move your decimal place over 2 places. So I know it's going to be 3.5. I'm doing something with the 3.5. Well, I multiply it if I go this way, or divide it because my number gets smaller that way. Well, up here, it's also 3.5. Since I don't know a number to multiply it, I'm going to divide it. I'm going to take my 175 and I'm going to divide it by 3.5. And what percent is that going to give me? 50%. And make sure you put the 50%. And then I need to check. 175 times 2, does it equal 350? And if it does, I know I did it correctly. Did you do it correctly? If you didn't, do you see your mistake? That's the goal. Are you learning from your mistakes? We learn through our practice. All right, what number is 35% of 20? What number is 35% of 20? So we don't know the number that's 35%, but we do know that the total is 20. So let's do percent over 100 equals my part of the whole. What number is 35%? Well, I don't know the part, but I do know it is out of 20. What's my percent? 35 out of 100. Don't have enough information. My numerator, good. My denominator. 100 divided by what equals 20? Divided by 5. Whatever I do in my denominator, I do my numerator. 35 divided by 5 is going to equal 7. So the number I did not know is 7. 7 is 35% of 20. And if I think about it like a sale, and the shirt costs $20 and I get 35% off, that means I get $7 off, meaning that shirt only cost me $13. Whoop, whoop. All right, real world examples. Before 1982, pennies were 95% zinc and 5% copper. If 100 pennies minted in 1980 have an approximate mass of 15 grams of copper, what is the total mass of 100 pennies? Well, blah, 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 blah. It sounds like a lot of words. So I really need to focus on what are they asking me. If 100 pennies, 100, okay, makes me think of percent. 100 pennies have approximate mass of copper. Does it say anything about zinc in my question? What's the total mass of the pennies? Tells me approximate mass of 15 grams of copper. Doesn't say anything to me about zinc. So do you know what I'm going to do, zinc? I'm going to cross it off because it's not important to my question. I'm going to focus on my copper. What's the total mass? Meaning I don't know the total amount, but I know the part. Percent over 100. I'm going to write my percent formula. Part of the whole. All right. 5% out of 100. And then my part is going to be 15. It's 15 grams. The total is what I don't know. I don't know the total. I'm going to put my N there for a number I don't know. Now, I have enough information in my numerator. 5 times what equals 15? 5 times 3. Whatever I do in my numerator, do my denominator. Because if that gets 3 times greater, so is my denominator. 100 times 3 is going to give me 300. So what's the total mass of copper? In copper and of 100 pennies, it would be 300 grams of copper. Miss Royce, do I have to write all that? Yes, you do. Because it's a word problem, it needs a unit. We need to know it's 300 grams of copper, not the zinc. All right, y'all are doing great. Let's flip the page. My fingers aren't working, I apologize. All right, the floor area in Miss Gertler's room is 900 square feet. A reading center uses 108 square feet. Okay, total, part, right? The whole classroom isn't the reading center, so part. What percent of the classroom floor area is used in the reading center? All right, oh my goodness, what was that? Here's your percent over 100, part over the whole. And I know I'm looking for my percent. My part is the reading center. It's 108. How much total room does she have? She has 900 square feet. I don't have enough information in my numerator, so I'm going to jump to my denominator. 100 times what equals 900? 9. Up here, multiply this by 9. Oops, wait, I can't multiply a number I don't know by 9, so what do I have to do? Well, I know 900 divided by 9 is going to equal 100. I'm going to have to do the same thing up here. 108 divided by 9 is going to, and I put that little in my computer, my little calculator. And what percent is that? Well, 108 divided by 9 is going to give me 12. Remember, it's asking me what percent. I need to pay attention to my question. So 12% is going to be my answer. Okie dokie. At this point in time, I want you to pause the video. I want you to do 1 through 7, or I'm sorry, let's do 1 through 5 on your own, and then we're going to check it together. Okay, 5 is what percent of 20? So I'm going to write my percent over 100 equals part of a whole. And I'm just going to keep referring back to this. So 5 is what percent? I don't know the percent, so I put it over 100. I know 5 is going to be my part out of 20. So 20 times 5 is going to give me 100. Whatever I do in my denominator, if it gets 5 times greater, so is my numerator. So what percent is 5? It is going to be 25%. Number 2, and I'm going to use this for all of my numbers. 8 out of 250 is what percent? Oh, I'm looking for percent again. Percent. And then 8 is going to be my part out of 250 total. 100 times what equals 250? If I can't figure that out, I'm going to put 250 divided by 100. If I do that, I move it over twice, right? So it's 2 times 100 times 2.5 is going to equal 250. Well, I don't know this number, so I can't multiply it by 2.5. So over here, I'm going to say 250 divided by 2.5 is going to give me 100. Whatever I do in my denominator, I'm going to do my numerator. 8 divided by 2.5, what percent is that? 3.2%. All right, number 3, 120 is 30% of what number? I have my 30 this time. And 120 is 30%. So I know that that's not all of it. 120 is not all of it. It's just the part of it. So I'm trying to find out the total. 30 times, because it gets bigger, 30 times 4 is going to give me 120. So I need to do 100 times 4. So N is going to equal 400. So 30% of 400 is going to equal the 120. 60 is 15%. So I know that's going to be part. So I have my 15 over 100. I'm still just using my percent formula. And I know 60 is going to be my part out of how many? I don't know. 15 gets bigger to 60, finding my equivalent fraction. Well, 15 times 4 is going to equal 60. So 100 times 4 is going to equal 400. How you doing? Doing good? Catching on? Feeling better? Not as overwhelmed? Okay, it says 2 is 8%. So I know 2 is going to be my part. So 8% equals 2 is my part of what number? Well, 8 divided by 4 is going to equal 2. So 100 divided by 4 is going to equal, yep, you said it, 25. Excellent. Let's look at number 6. In the first year of ownership, a new car can lose 20% of its value. If a car lost $4,200 of value in the first year, how much did the car originally cost? Pause it, try it on your own, and then we will talk about it. Okay, well, first of all, it tells me that's 20%. If the car lost 42% of value the first year, can lose. Okay, so 20%. This must be my 20%. the value of 20% for this is going to be 4,200. So I know that is going to be my part of the whole. So I'm going to do 20 over 100, because remember my percent over 100. And then I know it's 4,200 over a number I don't know. Well, I need to figure out 20 times what equals 4,200. I don't know offhand, so use your inverse operation. 4,200 divided by 20. I'm going to put that into the calculator. That's going to give me 210. So 20 times 210 is going to give me 4,200. Do the same thing to my denominator. So that would tell me 100 times 210, which means I just add 2 zeros at the end, means that the total cost of the car was $21,000. All right. Last one, ladies and gentlemen, my little problem solvers. At Powell Middle School, there are 800 students. 420 of those students are girls. What percent? Okay, so I'm trying to find the percent of those students are girls. All right, pause it, do it on your own, and then let's talk about it. Okay, it says that there are 800 students, so I know there's 800 total students. 420 of those, so girls are only part of the whole school, so I know 420 is my part. Don't have enough information on my numerator, go to my denominator. 100, and I put times because my number gets bigger. 100 times what equals 800? Yep, times 8. Go up here, n times 8. Oh, I can't do times 8. So I know it's 8. If I can't times it, I do my inverse operation. I say 420 divided by 8 will give me my unknown number. So 420 in my calculator, 420 divided by 8, and that is going to give me, 52.5, and it said percent. So 52.5% in this question are girls. All right, great job on your percent proportion.